Have you had any experience using ChatGPT for web development? I gave it a shot while making a React application using Docker, and it was pretty cool. In this episode, I'm going to be chatting with ChatGPT and then using that to build a React application with Docker. Let's get this conversation started with ChatGPT. I want to kick things off by asking it to build me a React app using Docker. Now, the thing is, I don't have Node installed on my machine, and so I want to use Docker to create the app without having to install Node. Let's get started. The first task, create a React app using Docker. Now let's not have unrealistic expectations of getting a full code setup to download from ChatGPT. Here it instructs to create and navigate to a directory, run the Docker command it generated, which should create an app directory with some code for React application. And it instructs to navigate to the app directory, create a Docker file in that directory, and it generated the Docker file. So that was cool. And next is to run a command to build a Docker image, and lastly to run the command to run the application container. Now this is all good, assuming that the commands, code, and instructions provided by the ChatGPT are accurate, or at least close enough. It can save a lot of time. Instead of having to search Google, go through multiple blog posts, and finally find the correct instructions, ChatGPT can provide all that in one place. Let's spend a few minutes here on the Docker command that ChatGPT generated that creates React app using Docker. It uses the Node Docker image, version 14. Now, I did not mention which version to use, but somehow it chose the Node 14 for me, which is fine. We can ask it to change the Node version if needed later. It does the volume mount for the current directory on the host to /app on the container. That's going to be the working directory inside the container. So in the container, React app application code gets created inside the /app, which will be saved to the current directory on the host, which in my case is Mac. So that's the reason why it has a volume, which is cool. Command it runs inside the Node container to create the React app is npx create React app, and the name of the app is going to be my app in this case. Now there are two parts here. The first is that it uses npx, and the second is that it named the app as my app. That's totally fair, as we did not really provide any more information besides asking ChatGPT to create the React app. And this command for creating a React app using Docker looks great and it should work. But I'm curious to see if ChatGPT responds if I asked it to use yarn instead of npm, and also use Node 16 instead of 14, and also change the name of the app to Hello ChatGPT. So here is the ask. Use yarn, Node 16, and let the name of the app be Hello ChatGPT. Now it repeats all the instructions all over again, and the Docker run command has been updated to use Node 16, and the container command has been updated to use yarn, and the app name is Hello ChatGPT. Now that's good. Also, it generated an updated Docker file and the command to build and run. The Docker file generated by the ChatGPT is suitable for local development, but it's missing commands for building an image that can be used in production. So in addition to running it locally, we want it to create an image that is based on the Nginx image and include the final build of the React app. So we are not going to be running a Node app in production, so it's going to have to be a final build out of the React app, which is going to be some kind of HTML, JS files and stuff packaged into an Nginx container, and that's how we want to ship it to production. So in Docker, we can utilize the Docker's multi-stage build feature to accomplish this. Let's ask ChatGPT to make this change in Docker file. So the ask is, use multi-stage to run as Nginx container in prod. It repeats all the instructions one more time, and here is the updated Docker file. The new Docker file has two stages, one for the build and the second for building an image based on Nginx. This should work, and we can come back to it later and ask ChatGPT to make more changes to the Docker file before we start using it. For now, let's attempt to create a React app using the commands it generated. This is the one here that uses Node 16. I'll paste that on the console and submit. The first thing is that Docker needs Node 16 image, which it's going to download from Docker Hub, and it spins up the container for Node 16, and inside which it's going to run this command yarn create React app hello ChatGPT, and that started up. The yarn command inside the container failed to complete and it failed to create React app code. Now there seem to be some kind of compatibility issues that we can try to investigate with the help of ChatGPT, or we can ask ChatGPT to use Node 17. So I'm going to go with Node 17 and give it a try. Let's do that. And the ask is use Node 17. Again, it prints out all the instructions, and this time for Node 17. Here is the updated Docker run command for creating React app using Docker. Let's run that command, and there's only one change here to use Node 17. Now with that change, let's run it. It pulls Node 17 image from Docker Hub, starts up the container, runs the command for creating React app. Looks like it passed the point of failure, but now it failed for a different reason, and it created the React app code directory even though it failed for some reason. We can work with this code it generated and ask for help if it doesn't work. Here is the code structure. It seems to have all the necessary code folders and files for a React app. Let's open that up in a code editor. And here's the React app. This was good so far. ChatGPT was able to provide us the right instructions and code to create a React app using Docker without having to install Node on a machine. So that was really good. I hope you're liking it so far. Stick around for the next part where I'll show you the chat with ChatGPT in building and running this React app in a local development setup using Docker and Docker Compose. Thanks for watching.